The Indian Express, November 23, 2023, why did China declare a ceasefire against India on November 21, 1962, while it was winning the war? China declared a truce when the United States was released from the Cuban problems. On November 21, 1962, precisely 61 years ago, China announced an end to its war with India. The Battle of 1962 was a great embarrassment to New Delhi and permanently damaged the reputation of Jawaharlal Nehru, the country's first prime minister. It was a loud declaration of power for China toward the West and its neighbor, India. Though China had won the war on all fronts, its gains in territory were disproportionate. It did manage to take Aksai Chin in the west, but China withdrew 20 kilometers east of the McMahon Line. Why did China retreat behind the border it had crossed to initiate the conflict and declare a ceasefire in a battle that appeared to be winning handily? Here's a quick rundown of the two leading causes that specialists have determined. Why the India of 1962? The China War started. Despite the reality that a number of variables eventually caused an active conflict to erupt on a tense border, many have accused Nehru's forward policy of provoking China. In a nutshell, the forward policy involved the Indian Army creating outposts in areas that China claimed as its own. Some have claimed that China's invasion and eventual loss of India were caused by these acts by an ill-equipped and unprepared army. Others noted that China's wish to be recognized as the unchallenged leader of Asia and India's choice to offer the Dalai Lama asylum when he fled Tibet due to Chinese tyranny were the leading causes of the war. Furthermore, at this time, Mao Zedong's Great Leap Forward policy of forcing the nation to industrialize and modernize was being opposed by growing discontent in China, and winning the war was one strategy that would almost certainly help him regain favor. The reasons behind the war's termination. The 1962 conflict, which still looms large in Indian consciousness, was only in place for about a month. China attacked India from two directions, from the east, in the Northeast Frontier Agency, present-day Arunachal Pradesh and portions of Assam, to the west, around the Ladakh region. Its wins were quick and decisive on both fronts. It succeeded in taking control of the strategically significant Tawang, in what is now Arunachal Pradesh, and continued to advance. Things were not looking good for India, with the political leadership taken by surprise and the military lacking proper equipment. Then, China announced a ceasefire on November 21. Why did it act in that way? First, China had overstretched its supply lines due to its swift advancement. Winter would soon be upon us. The Indian Army had bravely battled in rugged, hilly terrain to the very last man and bullet despite its numerous disadvantages. The Chinese soldiers were now closer to Indian territory, making the Indian Army a significantly more formidable foe. Furthermore, China would find it challenging to withdraw through the Himalayas and arrange to deliver supplies and reinforcements because the mountain roads would soon be covered in snow. It would have been better to declare a truce while still holding a commanding position rather than taking these chances. The second factor is that Nehru approached the US and the UK for assistance after realizing how serious the situation was, and both countries complied. In a Brookings article, American security analyst Bruce Riedel stated that President John F. Kennedy promptly ordered an airlift of supplies and weaponry to India. The Royal Air Force participated in the airlift to get equipment to India. A tremendous international effort to assist India was in progress. This would have escalated a battle beyond China's comfort zone. Additionally, during the early stages of the conflict, the US and the USSR were embroiled in a tense standoff known as the Cuban Missile Crisis, during which they hovered dangerously close to nuclear war for 13 days. The superpowers could then focus on the Himalayan situation after handling that crisis. Our explanation of the Cuban Missile Crisis can be found here. The Manohar Parrikar Institute for Defense Studies and Analyses published a piece by former Indian ambassador to Iraq, R.S. Kalha, regarding the shift in global opinion. He stated that it would have been tough for India to dislodge the Chinese had they not stopped after capturing Tawang, which they did, and not penetrated further south into Indian territory after October 24, 1962. First, the matter would not have attracted such intense attention from the public worldwide, and the Western countries would not have taken it so seriously. It's interesting to see how the Chinese view the matter as well. In an article for the Global Times, Hong Yuan, who was the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences Deputy Secretary General and a researcher at the Center of World Politics, stated that the PLA decisively halted its military operation and pulled back its troops when the sound of China's artillery reached New Delhi. Western strategists were taken aback by the PLA's wartime performance, which made its nation proud. For 50 years, Its triumph has also resulted in peace on one of China's most significant borders. War is a tactic for negotiation, not an end in itself. Similarly, China chose to make peace with its neighbor by retaliating against India during the 1962 border war. But has created an enemy who will never forgive China and will eventually bring about China's destruction.